Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Furrier with theCUBE. We're live in Paris, France. theCUBE coverage, SiliconANGLE and theCUBE, and of course, the NYSE Wired, part of theCUBE effort and collaboration, of course, getting all the action, and we're here on the ground as we go international and bring the AI conversation at scale globally, where the AI infrastructure is going under significant acceleration of change, creating massive amounts of value, and all the startups, all the companies are here. Paul Bloch is the DDN co-founder and president, storied company. Paul, welcome to theCUBE. Thank you, John.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me again.
Yes. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
C'est good? C'est bon?
Toujours un plaisir de vous voir.
Very, very good. I'll have one of those. I love DDN because as a company, we've been covering it. It's been one of the companies, self-funded, well documented, but it's been in the storage business for a long, long time. Series of waves of innovation. We've seen the movie, but right now, as storage becomes a data platform,
sure.
You have now large-scale storage fabrics powering these supercomputers. It's really a combination of infrastructure innovation, which is, physically is storage and drives and, now software, and then you have the enablement of the data layers on top of it. This is going to open up the aperture of value of how data is stored, how data is processed. The game is still the same, but it's changed.
Sure.
So what is the perspective as you navigate through the company, look forward as the key drivers for DDN today?
Sure. So, historically, right, if you look at it, DDN is a 25-year-old billion-dollar startup, right? So that's the way we look at it. So the first 15 years of the company were really focusing and delivering and becoming the leader in high-performance computing. Meaning what? For 15 years, we did sovereign HPC. We did sovereign research. We did sovereign defense. We did sovereign and so forth, right? Yeah. So literally, it was an easy transition for us. 10 years ago, we decided to partner with NVIDIA, right? We had a meeting with Jensen. They were looking for the right data storage and data intelligence partner. They looked at the universe and they zeroed in on DDN. So we're very proud of that. And over the past 10 years, we really kind of leveraged on this relationship, opened new ones as well, right? But really learned and fine-tune our technology, our roadmap, our delivery, our customer situation to deliver two types of solutions, right? First were massive training, right? Because this is really still the behemoth of the AI clusters being deployed. So training of foundation models.
And spend, too.
And spend, absolutely. We have to survive, right? We have to make a buck at the end of the day to be able to invest in R&D. So, and delight our customers as well. So training, right? Foundation models, training for startup, fine-tuning of models, right? Has been pretty much the workhorse, and our technology, exascaler, is really unbeatable there, proven at full scale. And even when customers pick some of our competition, they come right back to us as soon, or come to us once they need to scale because they understand the deficiencies of competition. And then now you're basically getting into inferencing, right? On-prem, in the cloud, multi-cloud, where are you going to run? Data intelligence is becoming everything. It's no longer data storage anymore, it's kind of data intelligence, right? Every AI breakthrough is driven by data intelligence, and it's becoming mission critical. So we have a new technology, actually interesting because Infinia is our, we launched it earlier this year with you guys as well, and it's a extremely fast KV, so call it a data ocean, but very low latency, multi-tenant ready, so really ready for the next generation of inference, and you can basically instantiate or manage your data, leverage your data, make money based on your data, on-prem, in the cloud, and it's a software instantiation.
You guys get serious customers. You have a great enterprise business, but when it comes down to the brass tacks, it's the big payloads. You're talking about the hyperscalers. You're talking about NVIDIA. Early on, that's a good bet. You were there early, present at creation, really, of this wave. And I think one highlight of that is that in the past year, Intel has went from 73% market share to like 13 in 1 year. Which you think about, that's mind blowing. That means NVIDIA won.
Absolutely.
I'm oversimplifying it, but what it means is that tide has shifted.
Sure.
High scale, large scale, high volume, low latency, demands on the data is absolutely the demand.
Yeah, you need performance and accuracy, right? And so really, if you look at it historically, we have the large customers, right? NVIDIA was our largest customer in 21, 22, 23. In 24, XAI NVIDIA became our second largest customer, XAI was our top customer, right? But it's really not at that scale. We deliver at that scale, which is super important, but we also deliver at very small scale, right? We deliver to enterprise AI, we deliver to manufacturing companies, we deliver to banks, we deliver at any scale. We actually start with a very single literal unit of 2U, right? But the notion is that we give them the security and the safety and the knowledge that they can scale seamlessly as they ramp, right? From a POC to production. But yeah, clearly we've demonstrated that the largest cluster we support is 200,000 GPU today, and it'll probably be about 1 million GPU at the end of the year.
Well, I want to get into some of the words you said earlier, sovereign this, sovereign that, you got sovereign everything. Sovereign cloud is the hottest trend that nobody's talking about.
Yep.
It will come on probably second half of the year, we predict. We think it'll be the top conversation in 2026. So when you talk about sovereign cloud, that brings back kind of the roots of DDN, which is, as we know, following you guys, there's engineering involved.
Yep.
You mentioned R&D, you guys do a lot of R&D investment. So, that work that's got to get done to do sovereignty, whether it's for a military application or some sort of use case that needs some bounds around, but yet stay open and frictionless traversal. This is going to be an even larger scale sovereignty problem. Can you share your thoughts on what that means for sovereign cloud, that experience, how it translates, the NVIDIA piece?
Sure. So I mean, in essence, right, like I mentioned before, John, sovereign HPC, we actually did it. We've been doing it for 20 years, right? So the largest government labs, defense, intelligence agencies, smart cities and so forth, we deployed system. Now what you need to add is the AI portion of it, right? The more social media, all the rich content. You basically are just expanding this, right? And becoming also what you're doing now is you're creating more intelligence at the level of the company, of the country actually, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about enterprise, you're talking about company businesses, right? Yeah. So the difference is that it used to be only the labs and the energy and a few, per se, organization customers. Yeah. Right now, really, the sovereign AI is super important because you want to basically make your intelligence in country, keep it in country, and basically leverage and make dollars out of this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what you're talking about, AI factories, right?
Yeah, yep.
So for example, Europe has announced a program for 13 AI factories and 4 gigafactories, right? And if you look at the budget, they're significant, but again, they need to step it up, right? To meet the US or even China, right?
I'm doing a whole feature on sovereignty because I think this has got multiple threads. I'll just get into a few of them. One is the technical challenges.
Sure.
You laid out a few of them. And we talk about on-premises. Yep. That's like in the data center for an enterprise. Okay, we know what that means. But hybrid distributed computing, there's a notion I'm calling on-country, which is kind of like a prem. It's a premise, but it's the country. And then so that's technical. Then you got the geopolitical. I think sovereignty around the assets of a nation is data as well. So it's not just an IT-like problem.
No.
This is a business, country, sovereign problem. Share your thoughts on this. This is a super important point.
You just mentioned that, right? Historically, we're used to having IT making decisions, right? You're used to IT running your business. This is completely different at this point. That's really the transformation and the paradigm shift, right? AI is no longer driven by IT, AI is driven by the business, by the data scientists, by the chief data officer and so forth, to actually make money, to have turn to advanced technology and so forth. But at the end of the day, it becomes, there's an ROI and a TCO to it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't do it, someone else will be doing it, right? And so, again, I think it's an opportunity for a lot of the countries, right, that have engineers or that have actually knowledge to really create that intelligence, maintain it, leverage, and grow out of it.
Paul, I was talking to a friend and we were talking about metaphors and all kinds of ways. It's like, we're sailing to that island and they'll say, wait a minute, that's a better one over there. I mean, sovereignty was GDPR. I mean, that's old school compliance stuff. Kind of antiquated, outdated, but still relevant because you still have to have a compliance checklist. And then marry the technology shift with that, otherwise it doesn't work. At the beginning, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, again, when you're talking about country, right, it's also ease of data, right? Ease of dealing with the government, right? Formless, right? You don't have to go to DMV anymore, right? That's antiquated. Why would you go to DMV, right? I don't need to see the people in the DMV, do you?
They don't want to see you either. It's not like it's a win-win.
So this is all technology that basically add intelligence on data, add checking on data, and this is really what we're deploying now, right? With our customers, we're deploying country-wide sovereign AI systems, right? That are powered, for example, by NVIDIA with a network, DDN for the data intelligence platform at full scale, and then you basically have the suite of software and application that is required to connect all the various government agencies as well as the enterprise, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about telco, you're talking about passport, you're talking about ID, you're talking about everything integrated in a very simple way for the common citizen to basically interface with the government in a simple way.
They got to unify that.
And then smart city, right? I mean, you're talking about smart city.
Computer vision, it's biggest data ingest of all time. All right, so are you having conversations, Paul, around governments, around competitive advantage? Because there's two trends we're watching. Energy, everything's bounded by energy. We believe, and this is our thesis on theCUBE research, that alliances may change between countries based upon, one, their sovereignty capabilities now with AI, power.
Sure.
I mean, hey, if I'm a country that have a lot of power,
Sure.
hey, nuclear,
Sure.
hey, France has got a lot of nuclear power,
Sure.
maybe I align with France.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just making this up, but that's the kind of thing I'm imagining. What are some of the leaders, are they there yet? Are we having those conversations?
So clearly, I mean, if you look at it, right, there's about probably 50 sites with a gigawatt or more being set up over the world over the next 3 years, right? And this started basically, they're already in motion, right? So really, what's cool is that the governments are actually accelerating the permits, the requirements, the land. You know, all this is being accelerated, which is actually appreciated, right? And then you mentioned basically France and nuclear. Absolutely, this is a massive. EDF is actually one of our large customers in France, and so we do all the nuclear actually research and data, right, on DDN, which is kind of cool for the past 15 years. And so clearly we are, access to land, access to infrastructure, but also the knowledge and the people that basically can make this run, all is going to impact.
Well, I'm super happy for DDN. You guys have one founder-led company.
My partner Alex and I, right? We met about 40 plus years ago at Caltech.
You guys did pretty good for yourself.
We tried.
Made a lot of money, but more importantly, you guys stayed the course. Now we're at another inflection point. As you look forward, you're founder-led, now founder-inspired. What's the view as you scale the company? Because now you have massive demand. This isn't your grandfather's storage market anymore. This is like a whole nother level of activity. And people are trying to squint through them. People are making generational decisions right now on the systems that they're building.
So absolutely. So I mean, we did a couple of things. One, obviously, technology was actually we're ahead of the game, right? So it's really was more a notion of beefing up the management team at DDN, right? Expanding the marketing, expanding the visibility of the company, because so that customers know that we're there, and then once they know, they see the differences with other technologies. So that's one part whereby over the past year, we've expanded our team, right? We've hired 300, 400 people over the past 12 months, which is significant for us. The other portion of it is we partnered with Blackstone 6 months ago, right? They invested $300 million in DDN, first round ever, right?
Round, seed round.
At a small valuation of $5 billion, right, at the time.
Not a bad seed round.
No, but the idea was not really for the money, because the company operates profitably, right? So we actually generate cash on an ongoing basis, even with the growth. But the idea was really validation of the company, that we are someone that is becoming the data intelligence play for Blackstone, right? Tier 1 investor. And the other thing, obviously, having access to some of their connection and being able to create a financial package altogether.
It wasn't, you guys didn't need the money, just to be for the record. You guys were doing great, and that was well known in the industry. This is more about expanding the stakeholder base, right?
It's coming out and saying DDN is no longer the old DDN, right? It's no longer your whole Oldsmobile here. We've never been Oldsmobile, but it's really, DDN is basically, yes, we're proud of our past, but we're now morphing into, we are in the future, and we're morphing actively into the future.
Okay, let's get into some of the cool things that around some of the deals you've done. I know a few of the deals, I can't talk about them, but
or I'm going to kill you,
they're
right?
confidential. Well, I could report them, but that's not what we do. But they're big deals, and they're from customers that have a high bar, technically, and a high scale bar. And as you look at DDN going forward, you got to have that tech advantage, but also have the speed. So as you scale out the offering, what are some of the use cases you're going after? Can you share a little bit more about that next 20-mile stair, the journey? And then two, how do your customers squint through the hype? Because there are other people out there grandstanding saying they're number one. We have the best technology.
Absolutely. So you asked me a few different questions, right?
Yeah. One is what's the future, 20-mile stair, and then like a hype squinting.
So if you look at it, right, I mean, historically, we've already spoken about foundation model large training, right? So who is basically nowadays doing on-prem on the cloud at scale, right? high frequency trading, financial, banks, right? Fraud detection, algorithmic trading, Monte Carlo analysis, massive influx of investment, and we are very present, right? To give you an idea, I mean, jump trading has close to an exabyte of our data today, right? And if you go automotive, Tesla, same story, right? Automotive, autonomous applications, we're seeing it across the board, right? We're installed at Volvo, we're installed at Tesla, we're installed at Ford, we're installed at GM, right? And this is all growing. Medical, Mayo Clinic, St. Jude, a lot of the research we're very proud of actually, of delivering value and technology, but also saving lives at the end of the day, right? And so medical genomics, very large image simulation, we're seeing a lot of adoption there. Manufacturing, right? This is kind of coming, but we're seeing default detection, KLA, Bosch, people like that, right? That are basically doing high scale default detection, factory automation as well. And then I'm missing obviously sovereign AI, which is just booming as well. So, so there's a lot of verticals, right, that are now approaching. And then two, competition, right? When customers look at, what I would encourage you is dig, ask for referencing, right? Ask for customers at scale. Real, what have you really done? Where is it running for for a long time? What are the, what are really the results of it? Because if you look at it and you look at a PowerPoint, everybody does everything great. And it's very difficult, right?
Looks good on paper.
And I will tell you, to the detriment of our competition, in some cases, they don't understand the scale. They haven't done the scale. They come from enterprise, and so they imagine that you can do scale, and you can't. So they don't completely understand that.
They wish for scale.
They wish for scale, and they think it's easy, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, those examples you mentioned are all big use cases. One of the things Jensen talks about at GTC now multiple years in a row is the digital twins, the AI factories, where, I mean, basically you're laid out essentially AI factory use cases in all those examples. So one, AI factories of the future, you seem to be the ingredient there, scale. And two, as digital twin technology comes in, how is that playing into some of the things you guys are engaging with?
Same thing, massive amount of data, massive access to data, real-time video inject, right? Because it's not just doing digital twin simulation. Once you've done it, right, you actually keep on optimizing it real time, right? So once you've built that plant, you basically have cameras checking literally real time, right? What the workers do, what are the movement, where are you going, and you're doing online optimization, right? So it's massive amount of data, real time, which is exactly what DDN does.
I want to get your thoughts on digital twins, if you don't mind. The classic definition of digital twin was always grounded in manufacturing. Why? Because it's physical, it's a plant, it's core to the business. Now you're starting to see digital twins in other areas, retail, media. We're doing our own little digital twin project. So it's kind of morphed into a representation of efficiency, simulation, efficiency to get the main thing right, whether it's manufacturing or media.
Smart cities, right? I mean, that's a good example, right? You mentioned smart city. Dubai, UAE, for example, have imaged completely the area, right? I mean, I flew in the day before the Dubai storm last year, right? And we saw that Dubai wasn't as smart as they thought they were, right? the cars were literally driving into water, right? I mean, so it's not exactly as smart. So there's tremendous, advancement to be had, and that's really what digital twin will do. You'll be able to do real-time simulation of traffic, real-time location. Optimization across the board, right?
It's about optimization, really. At the end of the day, that's optimization of the
optimization, easier change, and efficiency.
Okay, now as you guys become the master of physical digital merging, which is essentially what digital twins is bringing us to, I have to just ask you, and this is kind of
then you have physical AI, right?
Physical AI.
We're just starting the physical AI.
Oh no,
right?
it gets really kind of meta
and
here.
And our avatars in 20 languages pretty soon, right?
We already have demos inside theCUBE where the hosts are literally humans, bots that look like humans. So I'm going to be replaced soon, I'll be out of here. But the physical AI brings up this digital society. It's off topic, but I just want to get your thoughts as a leader and a founder. As crypto comes on, stable coins, as we start to see currency, money, programmable money, if software is eating the world 15 years ago, that memo from Andreessen, now the financial institutions are going to be impacted. So now you got physical AI coming together with sovereign nations, with digital money. Just your thoughts and your vision on how you see that playing out.
Very complex. If I knew, I would be a trillionaire probably in the next
You're already a
10
billionaire,
years, right?
so it's already,
yeah, but it's and again, it's about the fun, right? Both Alex and I are driven by the mission, the innovation, right? I mean, the money is great, but it's really not what's driving us. And so where do we see this? I mean, again, you got to step-by-step plan the future and work with it, right?
Yeah.
So crypto, I actually thought that crypto would be much more developed at this point, right?
Yeah.
And it's still held by very few people, right? So we do believe that crypto will have a play. Countries hopefully will keep on working together, but there's certainly a notion of clothing and keeping some of your value and the IP. So it's going to be a fine line.
Yeah.
However, what we're finding still is that investment are coming and across, and that's potentially what's going to save us, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the plumbing and the systems have to get built. Now going back more to NVIDIA's side, I have to ask you about robots and robotics, because robotics has machine learning for many, many years. A lot of engineers working on robots, been in manufacturing, it's been around, but now you're starting to see the price point of the hardware, and now that software integrates with hardware, you're seeing a resurgence in robotics. And AI is certainly helping, supercomputers helping, digital twins are helping. Just your vision on robotics.
Massive, I mean, that's the next wave. I mean, if you look at it, right, we've seen already several waves from Gen AI to agentic AI to enterprise AI and so forth. I think the next one, and RAG, but the next one, physical AI, is going to be extraordinary, right? Not so sure what it's going to do for the human race, but for sure, technologically, it's going to be very interesting.
We had a joke on theCUBE last week. When the population in San Francisco of robots surpasses humans? And some people said 2025. I'm like, well, it depends on home penetration. I get a humanoid in the home.
Not sure 2025, but I mean, pretty fast
soon.
Though, right after.
Well, Paul, great to have you on.
Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate it. Always a pleasure.
Final question. Just summarize DDN for the folks watching. As you guys really kind of go next level, you're expanding out the company, you guys are growing, you're opening up from the founder-led, founder-inspired now with more stakeholders, bigger growth. What is DDN?
Customer satisfaction. At the end of the day, we care about our customers. We do everything for our customers. And when we make a commitment, we stick to it. We're not perfect, but we will basically make it right? So customer satisfaction, number one, innovation, number two, and obviously taking care of our people and having the best people in the industry.
Yeah, I love the mission over money. It's a great vision. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. Appreciate
Thank you very much,
Paul.
John. Appreciate it.
Say hello to Alex for me.
I will.
All right, I'm John Furrier. I'm John Furrier from theCUBE. Thanks for watching.